My F27 Husband M30 thinks he shouldn't watch Baby 3 Malio overnight because other men don't. On mobile, sorry, sad face. Context: I F27 watch my son 3 Malian from 9 p.m. 4 a.m. while my husband M30 sleeps. He watches him from 4:08 am while I sleep. I then watch him from 8:05 p.m. while he works. Husband then watched him 5:08 p.m. and the cycle repeats. We have a good baby. He usually wakes once or twice at night to eat. Last night at 8 p.m. he just exploded at me. Very unlike him. That he shouldn't wake up with the baby at all. He said no husband we know does this. He kept repeating, name one man who does. I told him comparing us to other relationships isn't constructive and pointed out how other dads we know do extra in other ways. Work overtime, have babies with colic that need extra care, etc. He said he's tired of going above and beyond. Honestly, I was shocked. I've never heard him say anything like this. I asked if something happened at work or if he needed a break to tell me. I said I try to thank him often, give him affection and tell him how great he is with our boy. But he just said, I tell other dads I'm awake at 4 before work and they can't believe it. He did get up at 4 a.m. last night and he left for work and we haven't spoken. Is our system wrong? Is this just a bruised male ego? Looking for suggestions. This is our first baby and I'm wondering how other parents navigate the night shift. And how to navigate this sudden outburst. Many thanks. Edit. Since there seems to be some confusion. I am not awake with him all night. I am responsible for him on my shift. I sleep when he sleeps, so does my husband. Edit 2. I am not a stay-at-home mom. I am on maternity leave for a year, standard in Canada. Final update. First, I really appreciate the men and women who understand that mat leave is not a vacation, and I do not just sit in my jammies, as someone mentioned. My husband came home and spoke with me on his lunch break. He apologized and said he had a rough week at work, and will work on communicating when he needs a break. He said he understands how difficult watching our son can be, and he feels guilty asking for breaks or free time. I told him I don't mind giving him extra time here and there when he needs it, but that I am not a mind reader. I also mentioned I thought he'd be proud that he is doing more than other dads he knows, not envious. He said he wants to keep the schedule the same, and he enjoys having the early morning hours just the two of them to bond. He understands he let his feelings boil over and will work on communicating his needs. Thank you to everyone, except the man who hates mat leave. You know who you are. That sounds like a great system. To say other guys don't get up with their children is childish at best. It's called bring a partner and a father. You don't get to pick and choose the parts of the relationship that are easy or convenient. No one likes getting up in the middle of the night to tend to their little one. But to say you shouldn't have to because you're a man is extremely misogynistic. We don't live in the 50s anymore. My friend is literally becoming crazy because of a relationship that never happened. Hi. I have a friend. Let's call her Q. Who really likes this guy. Let's call him V. Q started sleeping with him even though he said he didn't want a relationship with her. He was into another woman who basically was not into him as much. My friend would always ask if there was hope for her and him to be together. I would always nicely say that it wouldn't happen because of what he told her. I said that she cannot be waiting for him to change his mind. She asked him if he would be the father of her children and he said no. Anyways, she kept sleeping with him until one day he disappeared. He ghosted her for a month or so, then came back. They slept together again. She knew I disapproved. One day she asked again what I thought about him and her being together. I said, he has told you in so many ways that he doesn't want to be with you. You're stressing out about something you already know the answer to. And I really was being sympathetic with her because I know the feeling of wanting someone and that not being reciprocated. I know the feeling of being ghosted. Anyways, while all of this was going on, she started to get into tarot card readings. She would try to predict her future through the cards. She started paying people to read her future through cards too. She also watches YouTube of tarot card readings all day. She started making up these stories in her head saying, he doesn't want to be with me because his family is in a trafficking ring and he doesn't want me to find out. Then she said, his ex is stalking me everywhere I go. She doesn't even know what his ex looks like. She was about to go approach and fight a random woman that she assumed was the guy's ex. Then she started saying that his ex and mother put a curse on him and she feels like she's the only one who can save him. Fast forward, she started to act relatively normal again. But boy oh boy, I was wrong. She came to my place yesterday asking if I slept with this guy. I was so shocked she would ask that. Why would I do that to her? I said no, of course, and she said, okay, if you say so. What do you mean if I say so? I was so offended. Then she said she's gonna take some time to be by herself. She's basically abandoning our friendship because she thinks deep down I slept with the guy she's into. I agree she needs space because I don't want to deal with this. I just started finding peace with myself after a bad situation I was in. I don't know what to do now because I still worry for her. By the way, she gets offended if I mention therapy or mental illness. Any advice? Edit. I forgot to mention that I have told her before, when she first started with the delusions, that I was worried. She would state her delusions as fact. She didn't say, I think, or, I believe. No, she would wholeheartedly state fake scenarios happened as if they really did. When I brought this up to her, she said, I know what I know because the universe gives me downloads. I asked her what a download is and she said the universe transmits things into her mind and that it's a gift she was born with. Edit. Okay. I found her dad on Instagram. He has a private page. Should I send him a message? I'm scared that if I do, my friend will get pissed off and go further into her own world and make it harder for people to help. What she's doing is a very unhealthy coping mechanism. Her mind simply cannot accept the fact that he isn't interested in a relationship with her, because that would trigger some insecurities she has. So what does the mind do? It comes up with all these stories to protect her ego. He wants to be with me, but just can't because of these outside circumstances. She needs therapy. If you know this dude and know him to be a decent person, maybe it would be worth talking to him to put an end to all of this so your friend can move on. Instead of clinging to a fantasy that's never going to happen. Wife had an affair with an old friend. Me 36, M. My wife 32, F. Have been married almost 10 years, and have 3 small children. About 5 years ago my wife had an affair. I had a feeling at the time since it wasn't the first time I've been cheated on. We got married after a year of dating, she the one that proposes to me. We didn't have a wedding or anything, just got married in court. I have always asked her if she wants a wedding, but she always gives me the same response, for what, she's a really simple woman, she don't really like going out or drinking, or so I thought. Around 5 years she stared, been weird, hiding her phone from me, been distant, and she changed her password so I wouldn't be able to check her phone, deleting MSG's typical unfaithful behavior, and I saw all the flags. It happened for a couple weeks during the month of December. I noticed that she stared putting on makeup to work and putting perfume, she never has done that. She also stared working out and stared taking care of herself. At the time we only had 2 small children. When I talked to her about all she was doing, she got defensive and said I was overreacting and she was just talking to her friends on the phone. When I asked why she changed her password, she said that because she didn't want the kids to go in her phone and she said she could. I had always access to her phone and she'd mind, no big deal if we used each other's phone. One day I notice a charge for a wax place and it was weird because she never gets wax down under, she takes care of herself but not like that. I had asked her to do that for me before and told me it was gross. One night she fell asleep watching a show on her phone, so I grabbed her phone. I notice on Snapchat she had her old friend the AP on there. When we started dating she told me about him, we was somewhat open about our past and I had told her to cut him out her life and she agreed. So I deleted him and blocked him from her Snap and I confronted her about it. She said nothing and just say she won't talk to him again. And a week or 2 pasted same thing. She fell asleep with her phone on and I checked it and saw she had added him again, just changed his display name. I woke her up and confronted her and asked her why was she still talking to him. She said nothing, so I grabbed her phone and threw it just to get a reaction from her. Again she said nothing. So I stared, telling her about divorce and selling our home. She finally stared, crying and telling me she was just talking to him and nothing else. She said she didn't do anything with him or anyone else. She changed her password so I could check her phone whenever I wanted, and had stopped being on her phone so much. I never believed her. I've been in similar situations where the affair partner won't admit to anything unless you have proof. We worked it out from our kids. Not much long after her affair she ends up pregnant, and I have always questioned if the child is mine. She would tell me it is, that there was no one else. For the past 5 years I have always wondered what she really did. She swears she did nothing. Since I have access to her Facebook now, it took a long time, but I found out about her past. Turns out she used to be really physically active and would party and drink a lot not long before we started dating. And she would sleep with her AP every other day, but they never dated. In a conversation she described to a friend how she was talking to someone and her birthday party was coming up and she wanted closeness for her birthday, but the guy she was talking to might not go and she was thinking about inviting her AP because she would have a good time. Her friend told her to stop sleeping with him if she wanted something serious. She responded that her AP was good but the guy she was talking to was good too. That's just a little backstory about her relationship with this guy. We went on vacation last year. Her phone got ruined and she wasn't able to log into her old Snapchat and email, so she made a new one on a new phone. After a year of that happening, I was able to log in her old email, giving me access to her old Snapchat. So I unblocked him and soon after her sends a MSG saying he wanted to get in contact but didn't know how. I asked my friend what I should do and I told him I was going to pretend to be her, see if I could find anything out. For 2 weeks, not much, just small talk, only time he would be interested in a conversation if it was sexual nature. He would send pictures without a shirt, telling me thinking it was my wife to go spend the weekend with him. So I would go along. He would send videos of his privates. So one day I get my answer. He slipped up and said he picked her up from work, that he loved how sneaky she was. He said he only did it once, but I have my suspension. My relationship with my wife has been good before and after the affair. We got each other out of poverty and we are in a lot better place than our families. We don't really argue and for the most part our bedroom wasn't bad, but she did stop sleeping with me because she was always tired from work, so we wouldn't have a lot of closeness. So I would always try to please her, always try for her to finish before me. Even got her toys to spice things up. Would try to take her on dates and do things with her. I cook since I'm a chef and I clean, do laundry, help with the kids. Sometimes I do work a lot, but I do it to give her everything. She comes from a single-parent home, because her dad was abusive to her mom and left them to fend for themselves at a small age. The confrontation: she was reading a book in our bed, I lay next to her and tell her if we can talk. Our relationship at this point has been good. This has always been eating me in the inside, but I'm good on suppressing my emotions. I asked her what really happened. She said, "Why you bringing this up? I thought we was past this." I told her you was past this, not me. Again she said nothing happened. Typical cheater answer. I know I needed proof before she admitting anything. So I bluffed, told her I knew, and she still denied it. I told her I knew he picked her up from work. She had a black look in her face like she got caught. But that's all I knew, so I asked her what they do. She said nothing, just talk. I told her that's not true, that I know what happened but I need to hear it from her. Lies after lies, from we almost kiss but I stopped, to we only made out, to we almost had closeness but she stopped, to we had closeness, to wearing protection, to where he finished. She did things for him that she didn't do for me even if I asked her. She told me how sorry she was. She told me that she didn't know why she did it and didn't want to tell me what really happened because she didn't want to lose me. I told her if you didn't want to lose me then why do something like that? She said she didn't know. She kept crying and told me she would move out next week. This was about 2 months ago. It crushed me. I couldn't sleep or eat. It was hard on my physical and mental health. I asked her to stay but it won't be easy, that I was mostly doing it for the kids and she has a lot of work. During our marriage that was the only time she has ever acted like that. She's been really good to me now and been really attentive to all my needs. I'm looking for advice on what to do. I've been told to try to work it out since it was so long ago and we have a family together. But I feel empty and I feel like there is more to the story, but also I don't. The biggest issue here is your wife kept lying to you over and over again. She didn't tell you the truth until you cornered her and said you had proof, then she decided it was the right time to actually tell you what happened. She lied to you for years and I wouldn't be surprised if she is still lying to you now or trickle-truthing you. You need to grow a spine and leave your wife. She is showing you her true colors. Which is she doesn't care about you since she keeps stomping on your boundaries you set. You are spineless. You give her chance after chance after chance. And you still do. So what advice do you want? Over and over again you know she cheated and lied and continued to lie and would have continued if you didn't know the truth, but yet you're asking her to stay? I wonder why she cheats. Probably cause she knows you'll always take her back. Ex-girlfriend started showing up intentionally in the same place. I broke up with her 6 months ago. She was manipulative, and we weren't a match. We were together for 2 years. She took it badly. So it ended on a bad note, unfortunately without closure. I haven't seen or talked to her for about 6 months, and I have been training for several months in a private gym with a personal trainer. It's a private gym because you have to book your sessions with the personal trainer, and there is no one else there. Unless the personal trainer has someone else booked and can handle it. It's also a small gym in another city we live. I go on fixed days, and she showed up twice in a row at the same time I was there. I guess she found out through social media. But she ignores me. She tries to come into my space by walking by but ignores me. Pretends I don't exist. I have to laugh at her actions, ignore her and pretend I don't care. I have been wondering about it. I know I broke up, but why ignore me if you come on the same day and timeframe? Isn't it better to come another time? Is this something that women do to manipulate someone to get them back? Just ignore her. She's probably waiting for you to talk to her. Don't think it's a woman thing, I think it's a people thing. But she's more than likely trying to show you what you're missing. Is she particularly vain or, as we say on the streets, thinks her shit don't stink? My guess? All about that control. You took it away, so now. Crazy brain psycho 2.0. Thinks if she can haunt you, she's still in control. Or some nonsense. Manipulative creepers are weird people. And possibly homicidal. Immaturity at its finest, lol. Just goes to show her true self. I would have laughed too. Guess I would fix social media if she can use it to find you. Well, you did say she was manipulative. This fits the bill. Just keep ignoring her like you've been doing.